AskReddit number 9. What is the creepiest thing that ever happened to you but never told anyone? I once had a nap on my couch, a few hours before I had to go to work. I woke up, checked the time, and started to get ready for work. Realized I was still dreaming. I woke up again. Checked the time. It was a little bit later than the first time. Again, I started to get ready for work. I was still dreaming. I went through that 5 or 6 times, until each time I woke up, I was panicking since I didn't know if I was awake or still sleeping, but I still got up and started to get ready for work. The last wake-up cycle, I would have been late for work. Creepiest dream I've ever had, even more than my sleep paralysis.
Comment, false awakenings. I get them from time to time and they're horrible.
You become aware that you're dreaming and it's like you're trapped in some endless cycle. A year or two ago I stumbled upon a subreddit that was populated by quite a few members, but the posts were absolutely nonsense.
But they commented on each other's posts as if they all understood what they were talking about.
I kind of lurked for a little while, then got bored and forgot about it. A few weeks later I was talking to someone via chat and I mentioned the subreddit to them, and out of nowhere I started getting chat requests from the members of that subreddit. I accepted a few of the chats and they were speaking to me, very aggressively, with similar gibberish that filled their sub.
I blocked them all and never heard from them again.
I don't know what the hell it was all about, but it made my skin crawl. When I was 9, I traveled down to Mexico for my sister's wedding. I had incredibly blonde hair that fell past my butt.
It was absolutely stunning.
My brother-in-law is a native and he, my sister, mom and I went out shopping. My brother-in-law had gone to another section of the store and my mother had gotten distracted and I think I just ran to another aisle. I did notice that 2 men were standing fairly close to me and when I switched aisles they did as well. They were talking to themselves. I had no idea what they were saying so I just kept looking at all of the trinkets. My brother-in-law suddenly hurried over to me and escorted me out of the store quickly. He put me in the car and my sister walked over to him and I heard her ask what had happened. He said that he heard the 2 men conversing in Spanish that they wanted to take me and sell me. For the rest of the trip I remember every adult around me being weirdly protective. I was mad about it at the time. I had no clue what that meant until many years later and then I was like, damn, I was almost trafficked. My brother-in-law is a native Mexican but he is incredibly white.
Like platinum blonde hair and almost translucent Jim Gaffigan white. We all were white.
I think they assumed that no one in our group could speak Spanish and so I think they were less guarded than they would have been normally.
And he overheard them. Thank God for my BIL.
When I was 14 I was walking in my town which had no more than 100 people in it. I noticed that a former neighbor who'd moved away parked at the park. I assumed he was visiting someone and parked there. I walked home which was like a 3-minute walk to my yard from the park and he pulled up beside me. I was like 5 steps from my yard and he tried to convince me to get in his car to see his nephew who was my friend, and when I told him no he told me he'd give me a ride all the way to my house as my yard was fairly large. But it was like 2-minute tops from there to my house.
I kept telling him no and he kept getting angrier.
He grabbed something from the passenger seat and tried to grab the door handle. At the same time, another neighbor came out to see what was going on. He drove off so fast. He kidnapped another girl a couple of months later at knife point. I didn't tell anyone because it was well known he was a creep among the girls in town. I didn't even process that he was trying to kidnap me until my grandma told me he was arrested for kidnapping a girl. Then I felt so guilty why that time that I didn't mention it to anyone.
One day, I heard my dad call my name.
Weird, but not exactly unusual. He lives nearby and comes over when he needs something, though he usually knocks instead of just yelling my name. I get up and check outside, but I don't see his truck. I walk around the outside of the house but can't find him. I hear him call my name again, with some urgency, like he's getting impatient, but he is not there. I can see his house from my front yard, and I realize his truck is not there either. I grab my phone and call him, but he doesn't answer. This actually freaks me out because he is great about answering the phone. I've called him at midnight as well as 5 in the morning, and he's answered every time.
He says my name again, and I don't even think about it. Grab my keys, get in the van, and take off down the highway.
There's a crossroads less than a mile from the road, 2 roads crossing, for possible ways to go, including back the way I came. I turned down this little back road, and after 3 miles, one came over this hill, and his truck was lying upside down on the side of the road. He's alive, but out of it, mild concussion it turns out, his phone still in his pocket. I let him believe it was just a weird coincidence that I felt like going for a drive that day. One summer night my sister, cousin, and I tried to go out in the country about half an hour from where we lived to steal a road sign with our family's name on it. We didn't have the right tools, so we decided to drive back home and grab them. On our way back my sister and I swear we saw a car stopped at a stop sign a few hundred meters down the road that wasn't actually there when we got to that spot. Cousin was in the back and she said she wasn't paying attention. Couldn't make out exactly what the car looked like, but we both agree it was a vehicle moving in the direction of the stop sign and then stopping. The view was obstructed by corn for a second as we got close and then the car was nowhere to be seen. We both agree there was a strange luminous glow to the headlights too. Felt too weird, so when we got home we went to our room instead of looking for the tools right away, and suddenly my car alarm started going off. I was right by the window and saw within a second, but there was nobody outside messing with my car. Then within literally a minute the light bulb to our room blew out. Just too weird, so we never fucked with the signs again. When I was a teenager I went home late at night, and it seemed that someone is behind. As I was trying to unlock the door as fast as possible I turned around and behind me there was a fat old man, naked from the waist down, jumping up and down. Comment: years ago I was in jail and went to the door to get my TB test shot when I hear some ruckus, so I looked to the left and in the showers they had about 6 men facing each other jumping up and down in a circle singing floppy fish, floppy fish. They didn't see me, thank God, because I didn't want to interrupt their dance-off. Your comment just reminded me about it. What's up with naked people jumping up and down? Weirdos. Even though I quickly turned my head, it's scarred into my memory. Might need to bring it up with my therapist if I ever talk to her again. A friend dropped me off at my apartment one night, and where I live the interstate was about 3 blocks from my house. There was an awful wreck involving a semi and another car, so after she dropped me off I thought I would walk up the street to take a closer look. As I was walking back to my apartment I noticed a man walking behind me, fast, like he was trying to catch up to me. I sped up a bit and then so did he. My heart was racing. I thought to just cross to the other side of the street but instead to see if he followed, but then thought, what if he does? I don't know where it came from, but I stopped dead in my tracks, turned around and turned right towards him. He kept walking right by me but I stared him down the whole time. Shortly after I left school I got a job working night shifts at a cinema in the city, and I remember I was on the bus going home. The only other person on the bus was this man somewhere in his 40s to 50s started talking to me. I was 16 at the time, and he kept asking me about what I was up to and what I had been doing during the day. I lied saying I was a waiter working for a local restaurant, and he then asked if I had just left school, which I foolishly said yes. He then said, "You seem quite agitated." I'm only trying to be friendly, and by this point I was becoming quite paranoid, and after he started smoking on the bus I decided to get off the bus despite being 6 stops away from my house and walked the rest back home. When I was 9, I traveled down to Mexico for my sister's wedding. I had incredibly blonde hair that fell past my butt. It was absolutely stunning. My brother-in-law is a native and he, my sister, mom and I went out shopping. My brother-in-law had gone to another section of the store and my mother had gotten distracted, and I think I just ran to another aisle. I did notice that 2 men were standing fairly close to me, and when I switch aisles they did as well. They were talking to themselves. I had no idea what they were saying, so I just kept looking at all of the trinkets. My brother-in-law suddenly hurried over to me and escorted me out of the store quickly. He put me in the car and my sister walked over to him, and I heard her ask what had happened. He said that he heard the 2 men conversing in Spanish, that they wanted to take me and sell me. For the rest of the trip I remember every adult around me being weirdly protective. I was mad about it at the time. I had no clue what that meant until many years later, and then I was like, damn, I was almost trafficked. My brother-in-law is a native Mexican, but he is incredibly white. Like platinum blonde hair and almost translucent Jim Gaffigan white. We all were white. I think they assumed that no one in our group could speak Spanish, and so I think they were less guarded than they would have been normally. And he overheard them. Creepiest thing that has happened to me. I've told like half my buds this though. Back in my junior year of college, I think it was about a week before school started back up. My friend was a residential advisor, RA, and he realized he forgot to make a bunch of posters that needed to go up tomorrow. It was midnight, and he didn't have a car, but I did. So, we go to the local Walmart, and it's exactly what you envisioned a Walmart at midnight back in 2012-ish. Random people stalking the aisles, the ones you did spot had hoodies on like they didn't want you knowing about their late-night ice cream sandwich cravings. We get to the arts and crafts area of the store and just picking random shit out. Suddenly a random lady pokes her head into the aisle we're in and is staring at us hard. She looked like skin and bones and wrinkles across her face. She suddenly says excuse me, and I'm thinking oh boy, and she asks about some of the products. I say sorry we don't work here so we don't really know, and she just goes oh and keeps staring at us. At this point we just decide what we grabbed is enough, fuck the glitter. We get to the checkout line, before the time of self-checkout, and this same lady is right behind us. I'm just going but try to avoid eye contact. We check out and leave and me and my bud are joking about it saying guess that's the Walmart after dark experience. While we're in the parking lot I notice this large black van with no windows parked oddly and it's on and running. I elbow my bud again and laugh and say watch out, they're gonna kidnap ya, and we're laughing about it. But we hop into my trusty Honda Accord, which I killed the following summer, and off we zoot along. But as I'm leaving the parking lot I noticed the black van started following us. I shrug and think to myself hey, sometimes people are going in similar directions. But after hitting 2 different stoplights and make a left turn, they're still following us. I'm semi-freaking out and my buddy noticed and I remember a trick which was to keep making left turns to see if the person behind you is actually following you. I did 3 left turns and they're still fucking following us. At this point I'm legitimately going FUCK. This and begin driving towards a police station on campus. However, the black van knew that we knew, and sped off to God knows who the fuck knows where. I'm just relieved it's over. My friend was convinced we were gonna get mugged or much worse. We get back to the campus parking lot, we can see our dorm. There is a single light in our parking lot that's about 50 feet away from the door we're heading to. We can see hope, we're almost home. And as we cross from the pavement of the parking lot to the grass, out of fucking bushes some random ass white dude in a hoodie comes out like he's fucking Reverse Simpson. This guy looks like he had been tweaking, I could see the crazy in his eyes. He just walks up and he goes, "Hey guys, you got a phone I could use?" And instantly I say, "Oh sorry man, I don't have my phone on me." "But my friend?" Right as he was going to say something, his fucking phone just has TO go off right then. He just closes his eyes and lets out the loudest, but also silent, sigh I've seen in my life. Him and I are both thinking the same thing, this guy is gonna stab us if we don't get along with him. My bud reaches into his pocket and begins to hand over the phone when suddenly, red and blue sirens flash behind us. Our heads all collectively dart over and we see a police officer get out of his car. Now at this point I don't know how to read this damn situation. Are we saved? Is a gun about to be pulled out? Am I just fucked? The officer speaks up and says, "How's everyone doing tonight?" Me and my bud just awkwardly smile and say, "Oh, we're just trying to go back into the dorm." The officer targets on the bushman and says, "Hey, I'd like to chat with you real quick. We got a report about a robbery and it matched your description, so we just want to talk." The man pauses then goes, "But I need to make a phone call," and he just sort of wiggles my bud's phone lightly in the air. The officer says, "Don't worry, I got a phone you can use after. Why don't you go ahead and hand that back?" I'm holding my breath. My bud is just frozen, and Bushy Boy is just standing there, menacingly. Finally, he just nods and gives the phone back. We say goodnight and power walk to the damn dorm door. We get in, close the door, get the fuck away from the windows and then lose our minds. We're laughing either out of joy or of madness. I tell Buddy I am never fucking driving him after midnight again, he fucking owes me food after this. So yeah. Fuck all of that noise. After my husband died of bone cancer at 50, I had a day of grieving that was so severe I went to bed crying.
When I tried to get up, I found to my horror I could not walk.
I had to pee so bad, but I seriously could not walk.
I ended up getting the trash can and peeing in it. It scared me so much. Before, I had always thought I was quite stoic and psychosomatic stuff was baloney.
I went back to sleep and woke up hours later and could walk. And of course there was pee in the trash can. Yuck. I researched it and found it's not that uncommon in grieving to suffer physically in a way that mirrors the ailments of the person that died. For the next year I slept with crutches under the bed just in case it happened again. Interestingly, after my mom died of Alzheimer's, my father had days of being very forgetful and confused that resolved in time. When I was probably 10, my mom and I were cleaning out my closet while my younger brother, about 2 to 3 years old, was in the kitchen playing. We live in the country and it was only us three living in the house.
I heard a man say, "They let you play in here all alone, boy?" coming from the direction of the kitchen. I turned to Mom and said, "Who was that?" To which she responded, "You heard that too?" We ran into the kitchen, no one in sight other than my brother. All windows and doors closed and locked. When we asked who it was, he just said that man. Still a mystery to this day, and I will never forget that voice. One day, I heard my dad call my name. Weird, but not exactly unusual. He lives nearby and comes over when he needs something, though he usually knocks instead of just yelling my name. I get up and check outside, but I don't see his truck. I walk around the outside of the house but can't find him. I hear him call my name again, with some urgency, like he's getting impatient, but he is not there. I can see his house from my front yard, and I realize his truck is not there either. I grab my phone and call him, but he doesn't answer. This actually freaks me out because he is great about answering the phone. I've called him at midnight as well as 5 in the morning, and he's answered every time. He says my name again, and I don't even think about it. Grab my keys, get in the van, and take off down the highway. There's a crossroads less than a mile from the road, 2 roads crossing, for possible ways to go, including back the way I came. I turned down this little back road, and after 3 miles, I came over this hill, and his truck was lying upside down on the side of the road. He's alive, but out of it, mild concussion it turns out, his phone still in his pocket. I let him believe it was just a weird coincidence that I felt like going for a drive that day. Look, I told a couple people. But I don't talk about it to a lot of people because it makes me sound batshit insane. But, at night, like 2 a.m., my fire alarm goes off. I didn't realize it had been replaced with a voice one, so a soft woman's voice just goes fire. Creepy enough, but whatever. I look and, nothing? I can't find a fire. Nothing is on. No smell. Nothing. Not even steam from the shower. Go to bed. 10 minutes later, fire. I get up again. No fucking fire. Nothing. Just my fire alarm's lights flashing. No smoke. No steam. Nothing's on. Then, and this is where I lost my mind. Swear to fuck I hear, didn't you hear me? I said fire. The fucking fuck. Look around and swear to fuck there's a see-through old lady in the corner of my room. There's a fire, the non-existent figment of my imagination yells at me. Oh. Hell. No. I'm dreaming. Yeah, that's it. I go back to bed. Hiding under my covers. Fuck this. There's a fire. I hear again. Finally I'm just like whatever, I'm going insane, it's fine, and I get up, look that ghost in the non-existent eyes and say, and what am I supposed to do about it? Call 000 and tell them a ghost told me there's a fire? And that's when I hear, fire trucks. Dozens of them going down the block over. Oh good, they're here, my imagination figment ghost yells before going through my fucking wall and following the sirens. Yep, that's it. I'm done. I'm out. I take 2 anxiety meds and go the fuck to sleep. I am not having this. Nope. I heard and saw all of this. I'm fucking hallucinating. Nope. This is all in my goddamn head.
I am not addressing this at what is now 2:30 a.m. The next morning I tell my partner of the weird shit I experienced the night before. I asked them if they heard the fire alarm and they hadn't. For fun, and fuck my partner for this, they look up if there was a fire last night. There was a fire. 3 blocks away. An old woman died while on the phone trying to call the fire department. There was a photo. It was the damn old lady I'd saw, wrinkle for wrinkle. It was my fucking ghost. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below what you thought about these stories. What would you do in their situation? Here are some other videos I highly recommend, and don't forget you'll find a wide variety of them on my channel. See you next time.